Good morning, and I am here live with Julia2. Hey, ladies, I've missed you. How are you?
Good morning. We've missed you.
It's so lovely to see you, and I'm excited to see you this weekend. And I'm excited to hear about your trip. And I've got so much to tell you about all the new stuff, and you've got so much to tell me. So let's get on with the chat. Now, you guys, for people that don't know you yet, you guys are the creators of Perth Wellness Centre, both psychologists, both kundalini yoga instructors, and a million other things. You're both called Julia. You're running ceremonies and holding groups and really, really helping hundreds of people all over the country. So thank you for that. And let's talk. You've just been to Mexico and talking about my very, very favourite thing, which is energy and plants. So do you want to kick off and just let's start with how was Mexico?
Mexico was amazing. It was very, very hot and very, very humid. And we had a really fantastic time. It was, we just learned so much that we knew we were going to be learning and so much more.
Oh, that's great when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really incredible. Making this weather so much colder.
I know even the thought of hot weather, it just fills me with
pain. It was a real treat, and swimming in the sea. So we went out there to work with someone who originates from the Huichol tribe in Mexico, and he works with medicines, and so we've been training with him around medicines and also his lineage and how they work, and work with energy, work with the medicines, so and how working every day as a ritual in ceremony, working with the elements. So it's been really incredible.
The connection to nature again, isn't it? Which
always.
These things have never lost that. It's only us dum-dums in the West that think we can do it alone, or a pill fixes it. So that is absolutely phenomenal. So we're in the jungle.
Yeah, we were. And I was just thinking actually around the energy, because there were a couple of times when we were talking about our shadow side, our light side. And when we talked about the shadow, the light in the jungle went and it became really dark. Whoa. And then we started to talk about the light, and the light opened up. I mean, it was incredible, wasn't it, Julia? And it happened definitely twice, I remember, if not maybe more. But there were two occasions when that was our specific conversation. So it's really incredible. And yes, it is their lineage, and they've never lost that part. But he came over to the UK last year, and he was really, really struck by the heaviness of the energy here, and how much work we have to do, all of us collectively, to really help shift this.
Yeah, but we're on it, aren't we? We've started already. And even having conversations like this, and you guys going there and bringing back the knowledge, and you know, and integrating it with all the stuff that we already know from being here, you know, and having a structure, I suppose, really, as to how we can move forward. Because that's what I loved about Russell Brand's festival, was that it was all about solutions. And I think we all know, we're feeling it in our hearts, we're in a crazy time. It can be super exciting. It can also be absolutely overwhelming and painful. But you know, if the more of us that get together and understand, then the more we can enjoy the journey, because that's really what it's all about. Just for today, what can we do? So I know that. I mean, I'm a big fan of Kundalini yoga, as you know, which is moving energy. Do you bring the yoga in? Because the other thing is giving people things to do at home. You know, we can all bring people together and make them feel amazing and inspire them. But I'm really, really interested now in how we can encourage people to, you know, on a day-to-day basis, to keep their energy and their vibration up. So what do you recommend for that?
Oh my gosh, we could be here all day with because basically it is a a practice. I mean, you spoke about kundalini yoga, Lilia, and that could be one way. But, you know, it can be even simpler than that, going out into nature and just having some stillness and quiet without distractions, and just, you know, looking at what's out there in nature and being in nature. I mean, nature is such a nourisher of our energy. And so, you know, even that, just 5 minutes every day in nature could be that what is needed to. It's just about connection with self and how we connect with self and our own energies.
Yeah, I'm a huge Zach Bush fan, and he's talking about, you know, how we can improve our microbiome simply by touching the plants,
Yeah.
touching the soil. And we know that there's an antidepressant effect in soil, and also how the inner verse interacts with the outer verse. So that's, I think, really, you know, when you read in the fighting sides from the trees, when the brain starts to calibrate with the frequency of nature, and there's a lot of crazy gamma coming in right now. And I think we forget, don't we, that the body interacts with nature. Because we can't see it. The microbiome interact, because obviously the microbiome's all over. And you know, when we can be in that natural state that man's not mucked up, there is a place that man's not mucked up, then the body and the brain and the heart and the microbiome and the electromagnetic field, it just does it itself.
Absolutely. I think one thing I've noticed since coming back from Mexico, because being in the jungle, you know, as Julia was saying, when we were talking about things, the atmosphere, the weather change, you know, animals came in as signs. It was just incredible. And then since I've come back here, I feel like an alien in this world. I went into a shop the other day, and whoa, the stimulation, the overstimulation on all the senses with everything that they put out. They blast music in the stores, you know, all these bright things. And I mean, it just disconnects us from the nature of who we naturally are.
I was just going to say that, because people on their phones, when we were traveling, when you look around you, every single person is on their phone. I mean, it is absolutely extraordinary how we've got so hooked into it. And I was thinking, when Julia, you were talking about nature, because wherever we live, whether we're in a city or in, you know, wherever, there's a park, there's somewhere that we can go just to be quiet and still and peaceful. And but it's really, really hard to do, because we're caught up in this vortex of speed and doing.
Absolutely. And I mean, even I'm in Lochilphead staying at my aunt's just now most of the time, but I've been back up at the farm a couple of times for retreats. And my God, I just come out of that, you know, the container in the morning and sit, and it feels amazing. It's only 9 miles up the road, but it's just, you know, just that space in that place. It's effortless connection. You're not having to think, I need to go and do something in order to make myself feel better, because it's just right there. You can, the birds and the smells and the colours and the deer come down, and you know, it's a bit like being in Canada at my sister's. You can see you're living in the territory of the animals, but you don't see that here. You know, we bring them into our territory rather than the other way around.
Yeah. And when you talk about that, Lila, you're in Lochilphead, which is, you know, for us in the middle of nowhere. So if you think about people living in the towns and the cities.
Yeah, and I know you guys do a lot of group work, and I think, you know, from a Heal Scotland perspective, I think that's essential, because, you know, if the three of us were just doing one-to-ones, you know, all the time, which we do obviously at some points, but really getting together in groups. And again, going back to Zach Bush, he's talking about that, and you know, for a long time, and I'm sure I've spoken to you guys about this before, is having a model similar to the AA model, where people come together and help each other. So there's no cost to that. You can, you know, it can be in person, which I think is really important if you're demographically close, or you can get in a call like this and still really feel the connection. And so that it takes the cost out of it, because we need to have ways that people can help and support each other when we're not there. Because I think and also we know the givers gain, giving back, being of service, the huge power there is in that. So do you find at your groups when they come together, they stay in touch? Do you actively kind of keep them, in touch?
We encourage them to, because community is so healing. When we come together as community, I think that's, we used to live in communities. A village used to bring up a child. It wasn't just the parents, it was the whole village, because that gave them a rounded experience of so much wisdom. And we've lost that connection. So community is absolutely vital. And I've certainly noticed that over the last few years, probably since lockdown, how community has grown and increased. And that is part of our ethos. We want to bring community together.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing at the Goddess Gathering. We meet people we've not met before, maybe some familiar faces, and there'll be new faces, and creating these groups. Women are coming together all over the world. You can see it clearly. Women's circles, women's sharing groups, whether it's swimming, breathing, forest bathing, whatever. It's already happening, and it's just sort of encouraging people. I think it's obvious that you need, in order to navigate potentially stormy, challenging waters, we need each other, don't we?
Absolutely.
And maybe
We do.
Sorry,
I think
Julia.
it can be lonely sometimes as well. When we start on this path, it can be really lonely because we are actually stepping out of maybe what our familiar. Well, we are stepping out of our familiar. So it's good to have a buddy or a community there to support as well. I've found that, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, getting out of your comfort zone means, by the word, you're going to be uncomfortable. So that's why we don't like getting out of it. So you need to get out of it in order to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that's growth, isn't it? And expansion and stretching. So let's talk, though, about the Goddess Gatherings coming up.
Exciting.
To be in Edinburgh this weekend. I just love Edinburgh. So entering the field of inner knowing, when we were talking about, there's so many amazing retreats going on right now, and you can come and try all these different things. But what was really coming through me was something to give people something very direct that they can take home and practice and put them together in community. So very intentional around, who do you trust? What information do you trust out there? And we've heard it hundreds of times before. Everything you need to know is in here. Well, what does even that mean? And how do you access that? And how can you trust? Is it conditioning or fear, or is it intuition? So I wanted to create this mini retreat where we take people in, and we really have a fun journey of exploring the inner verse and the information that's available there through tried and tested techniques. Now, we know the power of sound, and I've got a phenomenal thing that hopefully you'll get to experience at the weekend, which we'll do a group voice print, and the sound will be targeted to the specific people in that room, and we will have frequencies going out specifically bespoke for them. But we have tons of understanding. Anybody that has experienced one of your gong baths, or maybe somebody else's around the world, will know the feelings and how it resonates. And what I particularly like is you just lie down and receive it. And I think that's what we need for a lot of people, right now, isn't it? Change your diet, do this, go out there, it's like, no, just lie down. So could you talk a little bit about your specific gongs and what you see in your sound baths that you're bringing to the Goddess Gatherings in Edinburgh and then Dundee next year?
Do you want to go, Julia, or should I go?
Sure. Well, what I love about it is, as you were saying, Lilia, people can just lie down. So it is very passive. So you can lie down and receive. But for me, music is medicine. There are many forms of medicine, and music is one of them. And the gongs, the sound baths through sound frequency. And I mean, this dates back 5,000 years. So it's not a new thing. It is becoming more and more known, but it is amazing. So those vibrations that alter our brain waves and take us into deep relaxation and meditation. There's something we were talking about earlier where we are so disconnected from ourselves and from nature that our bodies, our cells lose their natural rhythm of vibration. So these sound frequencies from sound baths can help restore them, which is also what nature does, which I really love.
Yes, and there's tons of science backing it up now. And I'm going to have the biofield viewer. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet at the weekend, and how, you can see quite clearly. I put myself on the Rife machine, and you could see my third eye. And so it's like, because I think what we're dealing with a lot of the time is invisible and very difficult to quantify and measure. And it really has to be experiential. And we know that the sound changes the frequencies of the brain, puts the heart and brain into coherence, or it can create discord, can't it?
Mm-hmm.
It can also move stuck energy, which may feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In that.
Definitely. And sometimes with the gongs, when they get loud, people can find them quite frightening, I guess, really. It can be very intense, but it's really connecting with your breath and allowing it to move through, because it's shifting energy inside. Because sound baths are amazing for anxiety, for stress, for just bringing us into the present, for shifting anything that isn't serving us, really.
Yeah, and there's a big part of allowing, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Oh, what, I don't like that. And moving
Absolutely.
into the judgment, breathe and get back into the body. Because the more you can allow the cells to be in that expansive state, the more unlocked you can allow yourself to become.
Surrender.
Surrender. My two favourite words. Yes. So
what I love about them is that they create these multi-dimensional ripples of sound that grow and grow into waves and waves, and you can feel that like crescendo building, and it just bathes the whole body, all the cells, and it just takes you on a journey. It's incredible.
And the power of the collect, the people in the room all having that, we create this power grid, don't we? Because we are interconnected, but we keep forgetting that we are. I think we're separate and different. So that's the beauty about doing it in groups. Apart from the fact it's fun, there actually is an electrical current that's much stronger when we're all there, and the brains entrain and the cells mimic, and we allow ourselves to be transported into Joe Dispenza's, science, which is become more wave than particle, and allow the waves to help you heal and to release. Now, can you talk about your gongs? Because I know they're all different.
Yeah, we've got different gongs.
Yeah.
So, okay, mine is it's a universal gong, so it's called a symphonic, which means sound in its entirety. So it's harmonic, universal sound, a bit like Om. It's all the collective sound.
Right. And it's tuned to what?
Well, it's called a symphonic.
Ah, right. Okay.
So mine isn't a specific planetary, but Julia.
Mine is specifically tuned to Jupiter, and it's about fear, releasing fear from the body. And again, I love how it builds and it builds and it builds into those beautiful waves. What I really love about playing the gong, I just love playing the gong. I was saying to Julia, let's play the gong for longer, because it plays me, and I know for Julia it can be the same. The gong plays us, so you never quite know what's going to come on that specific day. And there have been moments when I've been playing it where it's literally not felt like my hands. It's been absolutely extraordinary. The beat, the rhythm of the mallet, it's just so magical. It has a frequency all of its own and a magic of its own.
And why did you choose that specifically? Because of the fear that's going around the planet? Or?
No, I listened. I went to somewhere and listened to a few different ones, and that was the one that really resonated with me. So, and I think it's really important to connect with one that you feel drawn to. And we're now in the process of wanting to get some more gongs. So, we'll tune into which ones feel they want to come and live with us.
And I think it's really good to play a gong with the groups that you work with, and that's why I was drawn to the symphonic gong, because it will affect everybody in different ways. So, as Julia said, where when we're playing and it feels like the gong plays us, because the frequencies in the room, it seems to just know what is needed. So we find ourselves playing and then looking at each other as like, wow, this is coming out. So, but it's obviously what is needed in the room for that group.
Well, don't you think, though, more and more now people are tuning into different data streams of information, and they're channeling, for want of a better word, stuff that really you can't teach.
Exactly.
Because it's just there, it's in you. You followed your intuition, you're drawn to these things, and you just allow that information to flow through you. And I suppose if you're, the kind of traditional forms of teaching, I did this course, I did that course. What I'm finding now is the people I'm meeting are saying, well, this just happened. And there isn't a bit of paper to prove why this information is so powerful right now. And I just find that really exciting, because again, what I think, it levels us all. We all have the ability to tune in. It's really a choice whether we choose to do that or not. So, but it does level us all. It means that it doesn't matter what your postcode is, what etc. 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 If you're using your own intuition and you're tuned literally into the field of inner knowing, then magic happens. It just does.
I agree. And I think the beauty of the Goddess Gathering is it's helping us to wake up. It's helping people to see things from a different perspective, so that then when we do go outside, we do notice the ripple of the leaves in the trees. We do notice how nature's speaking to us. We notice what the clouds look like. It wakes us up to ourselves and to the collective, which is, it's nothing really more powerful than that.
I know. Yeah, it is such exciting times, but as we were talking about earlier, it can be really overwhelming as well for people. And I think, even to turn up to a Goddess event or any event takes courage. So I really, commend the people who are doing the work, because some people just are not able to at this time because the bodies are struggling, etc., etc. So, like I was saying to you before we came on, we really, really need a healing centre, a healing oasis, where we can all get together and provide people with the things out with the drugs and the surgery, which may or may not be needed. Sometimes now with chronic autoimmune, etc., there are no drugs that can help. There is no surgery that can help. So I know that you guys offer different, ceremonies, but I would like to briefly talk about Cambo, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Because, the way I always, it's like putting your digestive system into the washing machine. That's how I perceive it. And that process is very cleansing, but it also can be a bit turbulent. So I know you're not allowed to make cures or claims or anything like that. We know that. We're not saying that. But is there anything, and I know you guys have done intensive training with people all over the place with this. What would you say about Cambo? Have you seen anything yet? Are people doing it regularly enough? Are you getting any feedback as to what kind of situation? Hi, Bernie. Bernie from Ayrshire, looking forward to Saturday. Yeah, see you Saturday.
We've been doing quite a lot of research on our Cambo. We've been running research groups for that very reason. We've wanted to work specifically with specific conditions with people. And so they've come for 3 Cambo sessions in over a period of time. And then we've given them forms to fill in at the beginning and forms to fill in at the end. And this has been a part of our the next advanced training that we completed a few months ago. And we've seen some phenomenal results. Cambo is an incredible medicine. It really is an incredible medicine. Yes, it's intense, but it's a short-lived intense. And it has 72 peptides in it. And one of the many things about Kambo is it's antidepressant, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, and it works really, really well for addiction. So we've had some of the people who've come through the research that we've been doing have reported an incredible change in their behaviors and their patterns of behavior, whether it's been with alcohol or recreational drugs or food or sugar, whatever it might be.
That's beautiful. Can you explain about peptides for those who don't know?
Do you want to say that, Julia?
There are in Kambo, there are over 72 peptides. So peptides are things like anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antimicrobial, antidepressant. And so there's over 72. So there's something for every area in the body. And what I love about it is the anti-inflammatory, because, when with inflammation affects so many different dis-ease. And Big Pharma has patented, I don't know if I'm meant to be saying this, but Big Pharma has patented each individual peptide because they can't patent the whole of Kambo. So, there are really good healing benefits. But also, I think these medicines are brilliant, but they help us on our journey. So we can't use them as the magic wand, that magic pill. We need to incorporate them in our journey so that, we still look after our diet. We still look after the energy that we put ourselves into.
Yeah.
We still manage
laws that we can take off the camel's back. And certainly the work I'm doing now, I've gone down a huge rabbit hole with parasites and worms and bacteria and prions and lots about heavy metal poisoning, and we've got phenomenal technology that can really read right in. But, I always say to people, there's no point in me reading that if you cannot take the steps in order to redress the imbalance, because I don't want to give people more concepts, more labels, more fear. That what we can do is look at an understanding of the body as an overall ecosystem. And when you just said there, Julia, top Julia, about the antifungal, what I'm seeing is huge yeast infections, fungus, Epstein-Barr, Lyme's. It's all the same. To me, even all these words don't matter because I just see everything as code. And so but the reality is, this is what's the immune system's gone. It just cannot deal with all that stuff, and a lot of it, travel. Again, you go to different countries, you pick up different parasites that the body maybe would never have known before. The heavy metals, the traffic, whether it's air traffic, whatever. There's an element of pollution that goes into the body, and eventually the immune system's just like, oh my God. And then these parasites take over. And what's really, really interesting is that in actual fact, when you're nutrient deficient, all your B vitamins are gone, your minerals are gone. It's because these critters are eating them. And we need the root cause could be the heavy metals, it could be the food poisoning. There's so many different reasons. But ultimately, does even any of that matter? This is where you're at right now, and where are you going to go? So certainly it seemed to me that Campbell could be a helpful part of that journey.
Absolutely.
It's that these little things are clinging on to the ecosystem that is our digestive tract, and we need to go, right, you've been there long enough, see you later, and use all the different methods. And I'm sure you find this as well, it's you need to look at 1 year to 2 years of change, because the ecosystem's not going to change in a split. Well, that's not true. Faith can change a lot of things, I believe. But in general, we have to look at the longer game. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I think we're also fighting every day those pollutions. So it's not just how we have been, it's a constant every day. There's things out there. You think about things in the water, in the air, we're constantly having to fight those things every day as well.
Absolutely. Well,
and also, sorry, just to bring it back to the sound bath, I was just thinking, when you said with the immune system, the body gets to a point where it's like, oh my God, I can't cope with this. That's what happens with our energies as well. When we get depressed, when we feel our energy is really low, it's it's not allowing those emotions, those energies to come up, to be acknowledged. And I think because we live in a society where we've been so frightened of them, that a sound bath is a really lovely, gentle way into releasing some of that pressure from the body. In a
Yes,
not
again,
medicinal.
it's another way to put the straw. I just look at it as the straws in the camel's back, and all these things that we offer help to take the straws off the camel's back, because we know that we don't do the healing; the body does it. We can help guide so that the body gets enough energy and enough flow to do the job. Often that will take patience, repetition, etc. So you guys are going to. When are you coming to the goddess gathering?
Sunday.
Well, I'm there on Sunday.
Right, so you're just coming on Sunday. Right, so people will get a chance to talk to you about all the other things that you do. But obviously the main thing that you're going to do on Sunday is the gong bath. So if you're listening to this, you can come and experience. If you're coming already to the goddess gathering, you're going to experience these guys, but you'll also get the chance to talk to them about all the other ceremonies, rapi, cacao, and loads of different plants that you work with. So that is absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see you, and a proper catch up, hopefully.
I hope so.
Yeah, definitely. And if you get anything else you want to add, have I forgotten anything?
I was just going to say we were going to bring crystal bowls as well.
Yes, my favourite. I want some of them. Definitely. And the thing is, when you're a bag lady, you don't really have anywhere to keep that stuff.
Bag lady.
Anyway, it's absolutely wonderful to see you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lilia. It's been great, really great. Great to see you.
I'll see you on Sunday.
See you Sunday.
Huge love.
Yeah.
Bye.